Traders, stop being on the wrong side of the transfer of wealth and think like an institution. Bitcoin is officially oversold, and global tension continues to rise. Fear is growing again, and behind the scenes, institutions are still accumulating. In this video, I'm going to show you why Bitcoin is oversold at a key level, where the real liquidity sits right now, and the exact zone that the next move can begin. Okay, also, we're going to talk about what happens if the 60K level is cleared and how we adapted our trade to scale that $1,000 profit, right? This is the same environment every market bottom that we have seen, all right? The same environment where we saw during the FTX fiasco, all right? Extreme fear, extreme headlines, extreme sentiment. And every single time, what we got? Bitcoin built the next major expansion. So while most traders are banging it out and giving all their money away, we just locked in over $1,000 profit on the recent Bitcoin short, which was called in the Telegram channel. All right? That was structure. That was not random. It's positioning, not guessing. No emotional bias, just structure and following the plan. So if you value analysis like this, people, make sure you press the like button and subscribe. Let's get up to 40 likes. All you have to do is subscribe here, and then you turn on your notification bell. And if you have a friend who likes to bang it out at the bottom, share this with that friend so that they don't bang it out at the bottom anymore. All right? Also, the Telegram channel, like I said, that's where that trade was. That's where the short was called before the move. The link is in the description. Let's go! So, first, let's begin with this. We're going to go right into the macro. In just 1 hour, over $75 billion, Mr. Powers, was wiped from the cryptocurrency market. You know, that's what happens when you get these dramatic headlines. You know, panic grows, leverage gets flushed, and Bitcoin went toward the 63K area. By the way, it bounced. Okay, so Ethereum slides to near, what was it? $1,800 or $1,840 or something like that. And within 15 minutes, over $100 million in 15 minutes was basically liquidated. That is not normal selling, people. That is forced liquidation. So the weak hands are getting pushed out. People are getting margin calls. But here's what's interesting. While every single major geopolitical tension or geopolitical headline has created the same pattern, right? And this is what you have to pay attention to, right? It's a sudden drop, then you have mass liquidations, extreme fear, and then stabilization. So this is what you have to pay attention to, because Elon Musk, right, his $1.25 trillion AI company, XAI, is now hiring Bitcoin and cryptocurrency experts. Read that again. In the headlines, liquidations in the market, but at the same time, infrastructure continues to hire. That is not coincidence. That is long-term positioning. Short-term, we have wildness. Okay, mid-term, we have a liquidity reset. But long-term, mainstream integration continues to accelerate, and fear shakes out the leverage. Adoption continues to grow, and this is a transfer of wealth, people, and you don't want to be on the wrong side. All right, let's get into the charts. So, on the weekly time frame, Bitcoin is sitting in an oversold area. What makes this powerful is context. Every time Bitcoin entered this oversold area during some type of global situation, right? It wasn't the break of this trend, right? It marked an opportunity. Markets, they initially broke some supports, and RSI went extreme, but what happened next? Bitcoin went on to create new all-time highs. Look at the FTX situation back here, right? That scared a lot of people out. And then next thing you know, we were pushing the 126 high. So extreme fear, mass liquidations. RSI is now extreme again. And then, you know, after every single time, a major recovery phase usually follows. Now, here we are again in this period of geopolitical tension and global uncertainty. And Bitcoin is pressing into the same type of oversold situation. So historically, this doesn't guarantee a rally like tomorrow, but this type of extreme fear and oversold RSI has marked structural opportunities before, and you want to be prepared and you want to be positioning for a situation that looks like this, right? Not the opposite. So don't bang your coins out. All right, let's go into the next here. We're going to take a look at the daily time frame. So now the 70,000 to 72,000 zone is acting as heavy supply. That's this rectangle here. Even after strong bullish candles, price failed to close above that resistance. That tells us something important. There are aggressive bears sitting in that zone. Right now, the most important bearish liquidity level is still 59,972 right now. That is the most recent swing low. Markets love to clear liquidity before reversing. So if price continues to weaken short term, that level becomes a magnet. So you want to pay close attention to that. All right, let's jump over to the 4-hour time frame. So here on the 4-hour, the trend line broke, right? We saw that. Retest occurred. Rejection followed. That confirms short-term weakness. Right? Currently, the 62,000 to 60,000 level acts as support. And you could see we got that rejection here earlier today. So that means what? That means the market is not as bad as it originally appeared, right? 55,000 to 50K becomes a realistic liquidity sweep if this support is cleared. Okay, but it hasn't been cleared yet. So an important contrast is a move into 55 to 50,000 does not mean long-term sell-off. It just means liquidity clearance. And oversold situations like this often appear after those sweeps, not before. All right, let's go into our trade updates real quick. First, we got Morpho. Right? So the stop loss is secured at 1.6 or $1.60. Price is still hovering around the first profit objective. This daily time frame trade, right, patience was a key part of this. So because it was a daily time frame trade, nothing has changed structurally. If momentum builds, our second profit objective is in play. Right? If price pulls back aggressively, I'll manage partials and try to protect the gains. That's all we can do. But right now, structure is still valid. No emotional adjustments, just following the plan. Now let's talk about this Bitcoin trade, right? Because this was originally a one-to-one intraday setup on the 30-minute time frame. But that structure weakened and the macro pressure increased, right? So I actually moved the target a little further, and the reward risk was around 3.6 to 1, essentially, and risking 2%, leveraging 10 times. And the result, a $1,063 profit, okay? Roughly 9 to 10% account growth on this move alone. The important part is this was at break even before we even got the extension. So there's no extra risk, right? We're just adjusting to the market environment. That is how you scale positions intelligently. So let's talk about the trade challenge, right? So we started with $10,000, and after this Bitcoin short and all the other trades, we locked in a $1,000 profit here just on that Bitcoin alone, and that pushed up the account really nice. All right, that single structured trade really pushed the account. So here's the important part. All the leveraged trades, by the way, are done on the WeX platform, right? Because you get clean trades, fast fills, and smooth management. No slippage drama, no nonsense, none of that stuff. And all these trades, of course, are tracked in the Profits Precision platform. Or the R multiples, the win rate, everything, the net P&L, no guessing, no I think I'm profitable, actual data. And by the way, this platform, Profits Precision, is now 100% free. So you should be using it. There's no excuse, all right? All numbers, no excuses. This challenge isn't about flexing wins, right? It's about growing a statistical edge. So this thing is doing well, people, and you know what? You should be part of it. All right, so listen up. All right, now here's the thing. Everything that we've been taking here, right? Everything. There's no boring market. We have Bitcoin, we have small trades, we have big trades, we have swings, we have altcoin opportunities, entries, stop losses, live management, adjustments in real time, all that, right? Not before, not after the fact, before the trade. If you want to follow this $10,000 to $100,000 challenge, right? And if you want structured trades instead of emotional reactions, you need to be in the Telegram channel. All you have to do is go here, click in the description. The link is right there. It's super simple, and you should be in there. All right, so check that out. Make sure you're in there. Other than that, you have everything there. Stay calm, stay safe, and I will see you in the next one, people. Let's go!